Hello everyone, this is Revan, and today I'm going to be analyzing the set of Shears versus Fruity from Beast 7. So, um, Shears is going to be Pika, Fruity is going to be Mario. We're going to be looking at the beginning bit of the second game, and really try and look at some holes that Fruity has in his play, and potential reasons why they might be there. So, I guess things to look for, look for when Fruity's being a little bit predictable, and also how his predictability is so closely connected to the safety of a lot of his plays. So let's just hop right in and look at this beginning here. So we're going to see right off the bat, Fruity jumps, he falls, but then he jumps again, and Shears gets a hit that leads to a lot of really, really good pressure. So let's take a look at what that happened, why that happened, and how Shears knew what he could do. Right off the bat, jump fireball. This is honestly a really good option from Fruity. I like this a lot because this hits a Pika going to top platform, just straight up. It's really, really good for covering that particular option, which maybe Fruity wants to avoid. Another way in which it's good is it forces Shears to an extreme. It either forces him to go really low or really high. So this is a really good option for getting a good read of your opponent, and so going for it early on is solid. However, right after we see Fruity go for a fast fall, but then the fast fall is really good because you're threatening a fast fall forward air on the low option. However, he immediately jumps out of it. At this point, Shears sees a lot from Fruity. He sees that Fruity is very hesitant to commit to risky punishes. So, this fast fall F air from Fruity is potentially very strong. However, it also loses to several options, right? If Shears goes for a jump up air, it might be really scary. If Shears pivot up tilts, it might be really scary. However, there are a lot of other things Shears can go for in which this fast fall F air beats. In particular here, Shears messed up. He accidentally did a neutral beat, and so Fruity's F air would have hit. If Shears tried to jump out, it favors Fruity. If Shears tried to dash away, it favors Fruity. If Shears went to top platform, it's close, but I would still give it to Fruity. There are a lot of ways in which this jump F air would have been a very strong option for Fruity. However, because there are things Shears can do that can just straight up beat this fastball F air, Fruity's very hesitant to go for it. And this is really the core idea that Shears is going to abuse the rest of this game. Is that Fruity does not commit to punishes if it has an obvious counter, which I would strongly discourage, because let's look at what happens now. Now Shears knows Fruity's not going to be punishing. Fruity's unlikely to punish risky plays because he's so busy taking account of non-risky plays, right? He's trying to counter a safe Pika, so he's potentially going to have trouble against a risky Pika. So he knows that, and he also notices that Fruity's jumping a lot. We can just see that. There's video. He jumps, fastballs, jumps, shield drops, and then the jump is probable, right? And these two things give Shears a lot to bench his approach off of, right? Now, this isn't an easy matchup, but Fruity isn't totally having trouble because of the losing matchup. He's having trouble because of predictability and a lack of ability to punish predictability, because he's so afraid of the safe plays Pika can do that Shears can afford to do stronger but less safe plays, right? So there's this actually really interesting dynamic we're seeing right now in this game, where Fruity, he goes for, look at this play in just a second here. Fruity's going to go for, I think it's after this next stock, or after the recovery. Yeah, look at this. Fruity goes for this full hop fireball. This is a safe play, but it's very unlikely Fruity's going to get a lot off of this. This fastfall fireball doesn't seem to achieve much except keep Fruity safe, and it does a really good job of that. Fruity isn't really going to get hit here, and we can see, if we just take a look at it again, that in fact Fruity doesn't get hit. Fruity's goal, which is to avoid getting hit, is actually incredibly successful in this situation. He's achieving what he's sort of optimized for. It seems as though Fruity's optimization is, I want to pick the option that loses the least frequently, right? That seems like Fruity's goal here. However, in picking this, he's made, it seems, the mistake of connecting losing plays with risky plays. So, if a play is safe in every situation, then it necessarily has to not be a good play. Does that make sense? That's not quite so obvious, but if there was a play in the game that was just good under all circumstances, then you could just make that play all the time and automatically win by just spamming it. However, this is not the way the game is designed. It's very counterplay heavy. So if you do something which seems to be safe against all options, you're necessarily giving up something, you're necessarily losing in some non-obvious way. So here, because Fruity's going for the play that is safe in all situations, he unintentionally is becoming very predictable. So he's winning all, he's not losing any local trade, so he's losing predictability. And additionally, he's losing as far as the space is concerned. Though that's less what I'm concerned about. We see again, look at this dash dance from Fruity. What is this? What is the purpose of this dash dance? This has a really smart purpose, right? He potentially avoids this fastball back air from Shears, which is really good. However, he avoids the fastball back air from Shears. He does not punish the fastball back air from Shears. If he were to try and punish the fastball back air from Shears, he would necessarily have to be weak to some other option Shears could go for, right? However, we can see just in this situation how valuable it would be if Fruity would have, instead of dash dancing here, if instead of dash dancing, he had, say, run and up smash, that would have been good for Fruity. Now, that's not necessarily always a good option, and it loses a lot of the time. However, this time it would have won. So, I'm going to quickly summarize what I went over for this game. But the next video I'm going to analyze is Fruity versus CTG. And when we move on into that, I really want you to keep in mind this idea of if you want to make a successful play, you necessarily have to make a play which is sometimes losing, right? You require risks in order to make good plays. Good plays are not good everywhere. Good plays are not good against everyone. So, for this video, what were the key ideas? Fruity wants to try and be less predictable. And a smart way by which he can be less predictable is to put a lot less value on safety than he has. It seems as though he treats safety as the most important part of the game. if you want to do well against Pikachu, try to stay safe. And while that's partially true, there are errors in this method of thinking that really costed Fruity in this set versus Shears. So he wants to be less predictable, and the method by which he should achieve this is by thinking about potential reward and getting good reads, which we're going to talk more about in this next video here. So hopefully you've enjoyed watching so far. Hopefully you've got something out of this. I'm going to elaborate more on specific ways in which Fruity can improve his play in this next video here. However, I felt this was a good introduction to this next part. So I hope you had fun, and see you in the next one.